Why did ancient humans start wearing clothes? Imagine, you wake up one morning about 100,000 years ago. No houses, no beds, no wardrobes. You step out of your stone shelter and feel the early morning chill sweep across your bare skin. The sun hasn't fully risen yet. The air is so cold that you can see your own breath. And that's when you realize one thing. The human body is actually very fragile. Today, we wear clothes every day without giving it a second thought. A coat when it's cold, a raincoat when it pours, a hat under the blazing sun. Clothing is everywhere. It has become such a normal part of life that we rarely ask ourselves, who was the first person to wear clothes? And more importantly, why did humans start wearing clothes in the first place? Interestingly, the answer has nothing to do with fashion, nor does it have to do with shame. At least, not at first. To understand that, we have to travel much further back in time, very far back, about a few million years ago, when human ancestors were still more like other primates than like us. If you saw them today, you would probably be surprised. Their bodies were covered in much more hair, their arms were longer, and their faces looked different. And most importantly, they didn't need clothes. Just like today's chimpanzees or gorillas, their body hair acted as a natural coat. It kept them warm at night, protected their skin from the sun, and helped shield them from the elements. For millions of years, that system worked perfectly fine. But then, something unexpected happened. Our ancestors began to change. They spent less time in the dense jungles, and more time on the vast savannas of Africa. It was a completely different world, less shade, hotter, drier, and full of challenges. Here, keeping warm was no longer the biggest issue. Quite the opposite. How not to overheat was what mattered most. Humans began to walk on two legs. They traveled further, hunted longer, pursued prey for hours under the scorching sun, while most animals had to stop and rest due to rising temperatures. Our ancestors gradually developed a special advantage. They started losing their hair. At first, it might sound strange. Why would evolution get rid of something that protected the body? The answer lies in sweat. Humans possess millions of sweat glands on their skin. As sweat evaporates, it carries heat away. The body cools down. This allowed humans to stay active for much longer in the heat. It was a superpower that few animals possessed. Thanks to this ability, humans could walk or run long distances while their prey slowly became exhausted. Some scientists call this persistence hunting, and it likely helped our ancestors become more effective hunters. But evolution always comes with a price. As the thick layer of hair disappeared, human skin became barer than ever. In the warm tropics, that wasn't too big of a deal. But then, humans began the greatest journey in history. They left Africa, one small group at a time, crossing deserts, traversing mountains, heading north. Every step took them to colder regions, longer winters, stronger winds, lower temperatures. For a nearly hairless body, it was a life-or-death challenge. Imagine a freezing night tens of thousands of years ago. No heaters, no blankets, no coats, only the cold wind and the darkness. In that situation, a drop of just a few degrees could cost a person their life. And it was right here that one of the most important inventions in human history might have been born. Clothing. No one knows exactly who the first person to wear clothes was. There are no photos, no records, no living witnesses. But scientists have found some bizarre clues. One of them comes from a tiny creature. Lice. It sounds unbelievable, but lice have accidentally preserved a piece of our history. Today, there are species of lice that live in hair, and there are species of lice that live in clothes. The interesting thing is that clothing lice can only exist when humans wear clothes regularly. Without clothes, they have nowhere to live. When researchers analyzed their DNA, they discovered that clothing lice seem to split from head lice somewhere between 80,000 and 170,000 years ago. This suggests that humans may have started wearing clothes around the same time. The first clothes probably looked nothing like what we wear today. No zippers, no buttons, no fashion. It might have just been an animal hide wrapped around the shoulders, a layer of fur thrown over the body, or a few plant fibers used to tie the animal skin in place. Very simple, but incredibly effective, because sometimes a thin layer of animal hide could mean the difference between life and death. Then time moved on. Humans became increasingly resourceful. They learned how to process animal skins, soften them, cut them, sew them together. Around 40,000 years ago, a tiny tool appeared, the bone sewing needle. At first glance, it looked like nothing special, but its impact was immense. For the first time in history, humans could create clothing tailored to their bodies, trapping heat better, more durable, more comfortable. Thanks to this, they could venture deeper into freezing lands, crossing frozen grasslands, surviving harsh winters, settling in places that were previously almost uninhabitable. In a sense, clothing expanded the frontiers of humanity. It allowed us to live in places where our natural bodies could not adapt. But the story doesn't end there. Over time, clothing became more than just a tool for survival. It began to take on new meanings. Some tribes used colorful bird feathers to display status. Some wore jewelry made of bones or shells. Certain garments only appeared during important rituals. Gradually, clothing became a part of culture, a part of identity, a way to tell the world who you are. Today, we have thousands of different styles of clothing, from a simple t-shirt to spacesuits that carry humans beyond Earth. But no matter how modern they are, they all stem from the exact same ancient idea. Some prehistoric humans saw the cold coming and decided to throw an animal hide over their body. They probably had no idea that this tiny action would alter history.